All right. Appreciate the invitation to come down here. This is it's always like a trip down memory lane for me when I come down to Indiana State. This place meant a lot to me. A little bit of background. I was a cop for 36 years. Started my career as special agent with NCIS. Anybody seen the TV show? You know the Mark Harmon character, the star of the thing? Well, it could have been based on me, but it wasn't. All right. Left them, went with the Illinois State Police, did 24 years with them, had a whole variety of assignments. Worked narcotics, violent crimes, child sex crimes, worked undercover for about 6 years, had a great career with them, really enjoyed it. Then I became a chief in the suburbs of Chicago, southern suburbs, Homewood, Illinois for 2, and Lansing, Illinois for my last 8. And I had a great career, and I really can't think any other way I would have rather spent my life. I'm also retired from the military. You got any vets in here? What branch?
Army National Guard.
Thank you for your service, brother. Who else? You guys?
Army Guard as well.
Good. Thank you for your service. All right, and you, my friend. You know what a veteran is? Veteran is somebody who at some point in their life took out a blank check, made it payable to the United States of America in the amount of up to and including my life, and then had the guts to sign it. Doesn't matter where you served, what rank you held, or whatever, you signed a check, and thank you for that. I did 8 years enlisted. During the Vietnam War, I was a medical corpsman. I took care of wounded Marines. Got commissioned as an intelligence officer, got called up for the Gulf War, worked on counterterrorism units and protective service details. Retired as a lieutenant commander or major. You ever get a real bad case of insomnia? I've written some books. Pop one of these open, you'll be out like a light in about 10 minutes, I guarantee it. These are textbooks, and they're not novels or anything. But I've been teaching for a long time. I've taught at colleges, universities, police academies. I teach currently for the University of North Florida all over the United States. I teach for Northwestern University, School of Police Staff and Command. I've taught for them all over the United States. Internationally, I've taught for the State Department Global Anti-Terrorism Program all over the world. I've been to Africa, Asia, the Middle East, Europe. I think I've been to every country that ends in Stan except for like 2 of them. And I enjoyed that. I really did. I like travel. And also for the Defense Department Executive Institute. You're not just getting an education here. Okay, so don't ever think that. You're making an investment in yourself. And don't let anybody ever tell you different. Don't let anybody ever tell you it's not worth it. The time, effort, money that you're putting in here is going to pay off. I'm telling you, it will. It will, guaranteed. You're going to be able to put this education you're getting into use. Maybe not all the classes, I'm not going to lie to you. I took a course in music appreciation one time, and I remember thinking to myself, when in the heck am I ever going to use this? Well, I was right, I never have, but kind of gave me an appreciation for classical music, and that was kind of nice. My own education from here, I am absolutely convinced I wouldn't have had the career had it not been for this education that I was able to have. That's the truth. But more important than that, when I got out of here and got out into my field, I was already a couple of steps ahead of most of my peers. When it came time to writing reports, I knew how to do that. When it came time to researching the law, I knew how to do that. And a lot of the guys I worked with, quite frankly, didn't. And it's all because of the education I received here. Folks, when you're thinking about getting a job when you leave here, and I was one of those guys who used to sit here and look out the window when I was going to school here, undergrad and graduate, thinking, man, I can't wait till I'm out of here. Of course, after about 3 years out of here, I'd look out the window and think, boy, did I have it good when I was going to college. I'm telling you, your grades count. And here's why they count. I've interviewed hundreds, if not thousands, of applicants for police jobs. And when I look at a transcript and I see C's and D's, what would possibly make me, as a prospective employer, think if that's what you did here, you're going to do any more than that for me if I hire you? If you're willing to settle for status quo and just getting by, that's exactly the way it's going to be reflected to prospective employers. So don't let anybody tell you grades count. Now, y'all don't have to be honor students or graduate cum laude or anything like that. But, I mean, come on, work on it. And don't tell me, well, you know, Dan, I got a 3.7 GPA in my major. Well, that's all well and good. What does that tell me? That tells me if you didn't do well in the other classes, if I give you an assignment you like, you're going to do well at it. You're going to work hard. What happens if I give you something you don't like or you're not particularly interested in? Then what? Then you're going to be a schlub and just do enough to get by? Not good. Not good. Grades count, folks. They do. Get involved in more than just coursework. Coursework is a big part of what you're doing here, but get involved in more, okay? Get involved in professional organizations. Now, a lot of you folks are criminology majors. There's different law enforcement fraternities. There's different groups. When I was down here, they had a Gibault School for Boys. It was, I don't know if it's still here, but I remember doing volunteer work there. And I knew darn well I didn't want to get into juvenile corrections, but I volunteered there, and I'm glad I did because I learned something from it. And just as important, when it comes time to put your resume together, which we're going to talk about in a few minutes, now you got something else to put in there, okay? And that's important, it really is. Use your internships to your advantage. Sometimes internships can show us what we don't want to do. I did my first one at the state prison in Michigan City. You got to be kidding me. I was there about less than a week when I realized I don't want anything to do with corrections, ever. But I learned that from having gone there. Otherwise, I wouldn't have known. Did another one with the Terre Haute Police Department. Enjoyed that, learned a lot, met some great people. Start networking right now, okay? It's important. I got a nephew out in Connecticut. He wants to be a cop in the worst way. He started out as a police cadet in his town. Then he did volunteer work at a juvenile center, and on and on and on. He's done with college now, and he's on his way to starting his career. And all that stuff counts. So don't just do the coursework. Do the coursework, and like I said, do well at it, okay, because you're all smart enough to. You know, succeeding in college, you don't have to be a brain surgeon to succeed in college. I really believe this. All you have to do is have average intelligence and a whole lot of desire. You've all got more than average intelligence, or you wouldn't be here. Average intelligence and a whole lot of desire and drive and initiative, and you'll do fine at college, guaranteed. Before you apply somewhere, do some research, okay? Don't go into something blind. Do research on the organization. I don't care if it's a police department, a corporation, whatever. If it's in the private sector, look at their business prospectus. This will tell you how they're doing financially. You don't want to go to work for an outfit that's going to go bankrupt in 6 months. Then what? You move, you got an apartment, the whole thing, now all of a sudden you're out of a job? Do the research ahead of time. Look at local news media. See what the local news media says about them. If you're looking for a job in Orlando, Florida, get online, look at the local papers, and see what you can find out about the place. There's very little you can't find on the internet. We all know that. Look to professional organizations. See what their assessment of the organization is. Okay, they got no reason to lie to you. Do Google searches. It doesn't cost you a dime. If I was going to apply with a police department, I'd plug that into Google and I'd read just about everything that came up. And if I saw that they were undergoing a whole lot of scandal for something, I might think about applying somewhere else. Look at court filings for lawsuit information. If I was a young lady applying for a job with an organization and I did this, and I found out that over the past 3 years, they had had several lawsuits for sexual harassment, hostile work environment, racial discrimination, or some other nonsense, I would look somewhere else to apply. I had a friend applied for a job out west, one of the western states, and he got the job, and he called me about 6, 7 months later. He goes, I can't believe I'm working here. I said, what are you talking about? He said, the racial stuff that is thrown about this place like it's nothing, the way people are treated, blah, blah, blah. And I said, well, didn't you bother checking this out before you went out there? And he said, well, I should have checked further. You don't want to get into a situation, especially at the start of your career, where you find yourself in something that you don't want to be a part of. Okay, be careful with that. And it's real easy to research. Check their website out, look at their basic philosophy. Check out their table of organization. See if it's like this or if it's flatter. That'll give you an idea what your career path might be. Check the who we are. Check the in the news section. Most businesses, most organizations, and a lot of police departments have this. Take the time to check it out. Professional demeanor and appearance. We were doing interviews for the state police over in Illinois when I was there. And I walked out of the interview room. We had about a 30-minute break, and I walked out. I see a guy sitting there. He's there with holes in his jeans, and they're dirty, and he's got a T-shirt on. And I said, "Can I help you?" "Yeah, I'm here for an interview." No kidding. I look at the list. I said, "Yeah, you're early. That's a good thing. How far you live from here?" "Oh, about 10 minutes. I said, "You got time to go home and change if you want." He looks. He goes, "Well, why would I do that?" And I thought, if I got to explain it, pal, you wouldn't get it anyway. No problem. Come in there like that. You think he got the job? Of course not. If that's all the respect you're going to show me as a prospective employer, to walk in looking like that, you think I'm going to take you serious? No, not at all. And you know what? It's got nothing to do with being nice or being mean. I'm a nice guy. But here's the standard. Meet it or exceed it, and you're all capable of doing that. They're looking for your ability to fit into the organization. That's why you do the research. You look to see what's important to them, and you try and tailor your resume, interview, all the stuff we're going to talk about to fit those needs. You want them to think you are the best candidate they're ever going to see. Not just today, but they're ever going to see. And you're all capable of doing that, believe me. A lot of organizations go through a several-step process. There's an application to cover letter, resume review, a questionnaire, and some kind of an interview or an assessment center. Okay? All these parts are critical. Don't think, well, if I do well on the interview, I can blow off the resume. No, it doesn't work like that. All these parts are critical. Take the time to get the application right. Fill it out completely. Fill it out professionally. Make it look like you are the professional that you want to purport yourself to be. Incomplete or late applications? You got to be kidding me. What's your first name, young lady? Cheyenne? So Cheyenne puts in a job resume or a job application, and it says, close of business by Friday, it's got to be in. She comes schlepping in Monday morning. Hey, I'm really sorry, but I was busy Friday. Huh. Well, I hope you're busy trying to find another job because you're going to need to look elsewhere. You got to be kidding me. You expect me to give you responsibility of working for me? You can't show up on time or turn something in when you're supposed to? And by the way, if you don't meet the qualifications for the job as they're stated, go ahead and apply anyway. Go ahead. And here's what's going to happen. When you apply for a job that you clearly do not meet the qualifications, you're asking for one of two things to happen. One, you're asking for the employer to understand that you're not smart enough to have read this thing and see that you don't meet the qualifications. Or two, you're assuming that the employer is so stupid that they won't realize that you don't meet the qualifications. Okay? Take a look at them carefully. If you're on the borderline and you want to apply because you think you can explain, not a problem. Go ahead and give it a shot. But if you clearly don't meet it, don't waste their time and don't waste your time. We're doing interviews for detectives for the state police. Now, back then, to get on, you had to have a high school diploma. To become a detective, you had to have 60 credit hours. You had to have an associate's degree. So here I am, I'm on the panel, and elevator stops, guy gets off. Friend of mine, he's a trooper. This guy looked like a recruiting poster. I mean, he looked good in a uniform. And he's a sharp guy, good cop. He gets off, I said, and he was a Latino guy. I said, Raul, I'm glad to see me pestering you about getting back to school finally paid off. Well, what do you mean? I said, well, you got your associate's degree. You wouldn't be here for this process, right? Well, not exactly. I said, what do you mean not exactly? Well, I figured since I was bilingual. I said, no kidding. Venga aquí, amigo. Come here. Here's the list. You see anything about being bilingual on there? Well, no. But I thought, no. That's the point. You didn't think. Now, here's your options. A, go through the process and infuriate the panel who know you're not qualified, and they're going to figure it out in about 3 seconds. Or B, go over to the lady and say, I'd like to withdraw my name and lose some face. And that's what he did. Okay? Don't waste people's time. Cover letter. You got about 6 seconds to get their attention. That's it. I mean, I've read lots and lots of these. You get about 6 seconds to get their attention. Okay? So do it right. If you don't get their attention at this point, you're not going to go any further. And when you submit a resume, you submit a cover letter with it. It looks more professional, and it makes you seem more professional. Generic cover letters, they're ignored. And if you've read enough of them, you can tell which ones are generic. What you're telling me by giving me a generic letter is you don't give a darn about this organization. It's just another piece of paper. No, it's not. As a matter of fact, when you do your research on the organization, custom design your cover letter to meet their needs. Okay? 6 seconds, that's all you get. What's a resume? It's a self-marketing tool. That's what it is. It's a tool in which you can sell your skills, knowledge, experience to a prospective employer so they invite you back for the next step, which is usually an interview. It's a 1 or 2 page summary. Now, I've been doing this a long, long time. My resume is 2 pages. My CV, my curriculum vitae, is a lot longer, but my resume is 2 pages. If I can put my whole career in 2 pages, any one of you can as well, okay? It's an introduction. Here's what this person's all about. And you want to get them to be impressed enough that they call you back. You know, my little Italian mother used to tell me, Daniele, you only get one chance to make a good first impression. And it's true. If you don't make the good first impression with a prospective employer right out of the box, you're not going any further. And you know what? No matter how good you might think you are, nobody's going to come knocking on your door to hire you. You got to get out there and do what you got to do to get a job. And you got to do what you got to do to impress them enough to get you called back. It's not a complete story of your life from birth. Okay, if you got a trophy for 8-year-old T-ball championship or whatever, unless you're applying for a job as a T-ball coach, I probably don't need to hear about it. Okay? It's not a place for you to showcase your special interest. I like to fish. Unless I'm applying for a job as a fishing instructor, nobody cares. I might put a little blurb in there on hobbies, but that's it. It's not a list of every award you've ever received or every school you've ever gone to. A CV is longer. A CV is where you put all of this stuff in. Okay, but once you've been around for a while, trust me, you'll all have stuff to put in there. Some of you may have stuff to put in there now. You may have enough to get a CV going now. If you do, there's nothing wrong with that. Effective resumes speak to the needs of the employer. That's why you do the research. Effective resumes demonstrate a match between you and those requirements. You're sharp people or you wouldn't be sitting here, I'm telling you. And you're going to get jobs, I guarantee it. To get the job that you want to get, however, you got to be able to sell yourself. You want to stimulate interest about your unique qualifications and skills, about your relevant work and educational experience. Here we go with the internships and the volunteer work. About accomplishments that set you apart from the competition. What you're trying to tell them is, this is not just the best resume you're going to see today. This is the best resume you're ever going to see. And that's the level of confidence you need to go in there with. You go schlepping in and look like you don't believe in yourself. Do you think they're going to hire you? No. You got to keep faith in yourself. Don't ever lose that. You should consider customizing your resume. Take a look at the research you've done in the organization and customize your resume. If you see there's one part of this organization that leans this way, then whatever you've got in your resume that'll help you lean that way, do it. Your research on the organization is give you some tips and clues as to what to include. By doing this, you're going to make yourself more valuable. That's what you're trying to do, okay? Don't list every school or training thing because it looks like fluff. Stick to the major ones, okay? Same thing for certifications. If they apply, put them in there. If they don't, it looks like you're trying to pad it. Be careful when you're listing awards. Okay, put the important ones in there. Hey, you earned them, right? You can only count on a prospective employer giving your resume about 20 seconds. That's not a lot of time. Okay, get it done right. Either talk to somebody that has done these before or have someone do it for you, or I got a great idea for you. Go to the people that can show you how to do these, the Career Center. And it's still free, right? There you go. Okay? Misspelled words and grammatical errors? Bye. You got to be kidding me. You want a job working for me and you can't spell properly? And you can't use proper grammar? No, I'm sorry. And again, it's got nothing to do with being mean. That's the reality. Don't be creative. Okay? Put the stuff down you want them to see. Put your experience, achievements, skills at the top. Don't use your work phone or email, for God's sake. You got to be kidding me. Because if I see you using your work email or your work phone, what am I thinking? Well, what are they going to do if I hire them? Are they going to be using my work phone and my work email to go look for another job? Don't do that. Okay, use your own. And if you've got some really stupid, cutesy email address, get a normal one. My son used to have Bassmaster. He likes to fish. He was applying for a job. I says, is this like a professional fishing job, Chris? No. Then get a normal email. You're going to look like a goof. Get something normal. Don't make it too long. Ditch the photos. We got an application for a guy to want to be a police chief for the suburbs of Chicago. We do the searches, right? We get his resume. It's a trifold thing. It's got his picture on the front. I opened it, and honest to God, I expected like hands to pop out or something, or music to play or something. You got to be kidding me. Come on. Spell check and grammar check. Gee, you had that up there again, didn't you? Yeah, that's how important it is. Interviews. It's another important part. You get one shot. I don't particularly care that you're having a bad day. I don't care that you stayed out too late last night. I don't care that you just got back from break. I don't care that you broke up with your boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever. When you go into that interview, you better be ready. Okay? Clear your head, get a good night's sleep the night before, appear like a professional, and you'll do all right, because you're all smart enough to do all right. Believe me, you are. Prepare for it by practicing with somebody who does interviewing. Go see these folks. They'll help you. I was a police and fire commissioner in the village of Lansing before I was a chief there for about 6-7 years. That's all we did was interview people for jobs. I don't know how many people I've told, call me. I'll help you get ready for it, because I got a good idea what they're going to ask you. Okay? Dress like a professional, arrive early. If they tell you to be there at 1:30, you show up at 10 after. What does it show? It shows, number one, you're interested. Well, no, it shows, number one, you can tell time, and that's a plus. It shows, number two, you're interested, and it shows, number three, you respect them enough to make sure you're early. Okay, we were doing testing for new cops. A friend of mine's son applied. We told him at the orientation, the doors are going to close at 9 a.m. Don't be late. We had them lined up there at 7:30 because they really wanted a job. 9:05, my buddy's kid pulls up. I'm standing there. Oh, hey, I'm sorry I'm late. Yeah, I'm sorry too, because you're not going in there. Well, I got caught by a train. Should have left earlier. Well, there was two trains. You should have left earlier. I mean, what is this? The dog ate my homework? No. Get there early. If you're not sure where the place is, do some recon. Go scout it out the night before. If it's an out-of-town location and you got to stay there, I don't have the money. Borrow the money. Stay there to make sure you're there on time. It's important. Think about the questions. If you've done research on the company or the organization or the police department or whatever, you're going to have an idea what they're going to ask you. think about the questions and role play the questions with somebody. Okay, not my wife, because whenever I did it before a news conference and I'd give her the answer and she'd look at me and say, you know, even for you that sounds stupid. Oh, well, thank you very much. Role play, all right, with somebody that knows what they're doing. Never go into an interview empty-handed. Do your research on the organization and put it in a 3-ring binder. Download their logo and put it in a piece of paper on the front of the binder. That way they know you wanted the job bad enough, you did some research, and you're prepared. My son applied for a job at a big international security firm. I suggested that he did just that. He walked in with his 3-ring binder, laid it down on the table, and these people in the interview are looking at each other, and at the end of the interview, one of them said, "Can I ask what that is?" And he said, yeah, and he flipped it open, he'd done his research, highlighted the important parts, knew their mission statement, knew their goals and objectives, and was able to articulate them. And he got the job. So it worked. Know as much as you can about the organization and let them know you know. Be prepared to mention or discuss things that you think are important, and you're all smart enough to figure that out. Background investigations. Folks, if you have a criminal history, admit it. Because if you don't, and they find out afterward that you do, and you didn't tell them, goodbye. Goodbye. If you got arrested for minor consumption or minor possession of alcohol or whatever, because you were at a fraternity party or whatever, admit it. If you can get it expunged, get it expunged. If you can't, admit it. If there's an explanation using official documents, bring them with you. Well, we see here you had an arrest for possession of alcohol by a minor. Yes, sir, I did. And I went to court, and it was expunged, and here's the documents to back it up. And I'm telling you, most employers are smart enough to know everybody makes mistakes. I mean, for God's sake, if I had a nickel for every mistake I ever made, I could have retired years ago. Honesty is not only the best, it's the only policy. Okay? I've known a lot of people that have blown job opportunities because they didn't tell the truth. It is what it is. Just like criminal history, if you've been involved in a civil action, a civil suit, admit it. I mean, you got to stop and think about this. You get in an accident in your car, Allstate Insurance can file a civil suit without you even knowing about it. It's no big deal. It's not a black mark against you. But if they ask you, and you know you have been, yes, I was involved in a civil suit. I was involved in an accident, and my insurance company sued the other party. What's wrong with that? Other than, the other option is, don't tell them anything, thinking it'll make you look bad. Then they find out about it in the background, and they will, and then you look like you withheld information. And if you look at most applications, down the part where you sign it, what's it say? I understand that this information is true and correct to the best of my knowledge, and what you're also saying in between the lines is, and if I lie to you or leave something out, I don't expect to go any further. So why take the chance? If you're involved in a civil action for you trashed the last apartment you lived in and the landlord's suing you or whatever, get it taken care of. Get it taken care of, okay, before you go into the interview. That way you can say, yes, as a matter of fact, here's the documents that was dismissed, or whatever it is. A lot of locations, you're not supposed to be able to lose a job because of a credit history. Well, let me tell you the real story. Failure to repay loans, failure to make payments, walking away from financial obligations can hurt you. A poor credit history can make you look like you're irresponsible. Okay? A poor credit history can make you look like you don't pay attention to detail. Well, it was only an $80 payment. Oh, not to the person that you're stiffing. Okay? Get it done, get it right. Poor credit history can make you look like the kind of person who doesn't pay attention to the rules. And you know what? If you don't pay attention to the rules on an obligation, a legal obligation that you signed, why would I think you're going to pay attention to my rules? I'm not. I'm not going to think that. We do backgrounds for a lot of organizations. We have a guy that does them on computer, and every time they call to hire us to do it, what else do they ask for? Social media. Can you do social media checks, Dan? Yes, we can. Now, I don't do them, but the guy our vendor does them. Folks, anything you put on social media is going to be there forever. Okay? So think about it. Think about it. This is kind of stupid. This making stupidity more accessible. Yeah, no kidding. How about this one? Let me see. I'm driving a car. I'm drinking a Coors Light. And I happen to like Coors Light, but not when I'm driving a car. And, this is stupid. Why would you do this? Why would you put something on social media that you know can be there forever? There's an old joke. What do you call a person that brings a camera to a bachelor party or a bachelorette party? What do you call them? Dead. Okay? Because everybody does stupid things. God knows I have. Well, you don't want it memorialized forever, do you? No. I ride a motorcycle, and I got asked to go to a fundraiser about 6-8 years ago, I guess. It was a fundraiser for a police motorcycle group in Chicago, and they were having a fundraiser for some, children's home or something. And hey, good cause. So I ride over there, and it was at a tavern, and when I ride, I avoid taverns, but I get there, and here's all these cops, these wannabe bikers. They got their vests and all their garbage on, and I notice a couple of them have little swastika patches on their vest. And I looked at my buddy and I said, who are these guys? Oh, they're all cops. With swastikas on? Oh, that doesn't mean anything. Oh, really? So you mean to tell me if somebody takes a picture of this and it ends up in a paper tomorrow, and they see a Chicago police officer with a swastika on his vest, well, that doesn't mean anything. What are you, insane? No. Be real careful what you put on social media. Be real careful about inappropriate photos on social media showing you engaging in inappropriate behavior. And I'm not going to spell it out. You all know what it is. Be real careful about affiliating with inappropriate organizations, because you can't take that back. Once it's out there, and it can follow you for a long time. Okay? If there's an organization that is espousing thoughts and feelings that don't comply with normal society, you might want to think twice before you get involved with them. Everybody's entitled to their personal opinion. When you post it, it's there forever. And if the opinion happens to be inappropriate, you're going to get tagged with that forever. Okay? All this can be disastrous to you. Why take the chance? Just be real careful. We get some stuff out of these checks this guy does for social media. I just shake my head. Why would anybody knowingly post something like that? That makes them look so stupid or unprofessional or racist or misogynistic or whatever else. Don't do it. Okay? Be real careful with that, please. And I just met this lady, so this is not a paid political announcement here. But I'm telling you, when I went here, the Career Center was not anywhere near as big and as active as it is now. You're kind of on your own, to be honest with you. Well, it's not like that now. They got people that can help you. They have people that can help you do research on organizations. Well, I'm not sure how to do it. I'll bet you if you go ask this nice lady or one of her associates, they can tell you. And again, it's cost how much? It's free, okay? Free, that's a good thing. They can help you with resume preparation. They do these for people. I'll bet you if you took a resume and made an appointment, went and saw one of these folks and showed it to them, I'll bet you they could tell you if it was appropriate or not. They'll help you with interview planning and preparation. And that's important. You got to walk into there prepared. You really do. You do get one chance to make a good first impression. And that's critical. So just make a good one. I'd strongly recommend you contact them. Okay? And you know what? Don't wait until a month before you graduate. It's too late then. A young guy came up to me after the last session, and he was talking to me about internships with the police department. And he's from up around the Gary area, where I grew up in Gary. And he was asking me about internships, and he says, do you think they take freshmen? And I said, you're a freshman here? He said, yeah. I said, well, probably not for an internship, but you might be able to do a ride-along or something, which is good. You'll learn something there. And I told him, I said, you know, buddy, I got to tell you, it's good you're thinking as far ahead. I know guys that I went to school with that, I mean, a month left in graduate school. Well, I guess I better start looking for a job. What are you, nuts? You should have been looking for a job a year ago, you goof. Nobody's going to come knocking on your door. You got to get out there, no matter how good you are. Once you get the job, please keep your mouth closed and your ears open. Don't be an I know guy. I know guys are one of these people where you come up and you're trying to show them how to do it. Hey, yeah, I know. Well, no, you don't know, or I wouldn't be taking the time to tell you. So don't be an I know guy, okay? Keep your mouth closed, ears open, and learn what you need to learn. Learn, learn, learn. If you think your education stops when you walk across that stage and get your diploma here, you're wrong. Because when you get out there in the world of work, you're going to still be learning. I learned up until the day I retired. Okay? You don't stop learning. It's important. Apply for as many extra duties as you can when you get the job. Don't just be status quo. Anybody can be status quo. You want to be at least a couple clicks past that. Okay? Don't be afraid to try new things. Well, gee, I don't know if I could do this. I'll bet you could. I'll bet you. I don't know how many cops over my career I've solicited them to put in for different things. Field training officer, canine officer, SWAT team, whatever. I don't know if I could do that, Chief. Yeah, you can. Trust me. I mean, this is police work. It's not nuclear physics, for God's sake. Yes, you can. We're going to train you. We're going to equip you. And yes, you can. Only if you want it bad enough. If you don't want it bad enough, then don't waste the time. And then you can be one of the countless schlubs that just goes through career, goes through life, and doesn't really enjoy it, just a way to put food on the table. Man, life's too short for that. I can't imagine not having done what I did for all those years and not loving it. I really can't. So put yourself in the same position. Don't limit yourself to the status quo. Okay, you're better than that, or you wouldn't be here. Any one of you, believe me. And learn, 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 and keep learning. Okay? God bless you. Good luck. You're all going to get jobs when you get out of here, but start looking for them now and start researching. Okay? And I will stick around for some questions if anybody has any, and I wish you the best.